After 6 years sacrificing everything for my bedridden wife, I overheard her call me her personal slave, so I called a nursing home and never looked back. Comments where you're watching from. I'm always amazed by how far these stories reach. I stood frozen outside our bedroom door, my hand trembling as I held the tray with her lunch. The words coming from inside that room weren't meant for my ears, but they cut deeper than any knife ever could. "Girl, Cedric is literally my personal slave," Bernice said into her phone, laughing. I snapped my fingers, and he comes running. 6 years of this, and he still doesn't know I can walk. My heart stopped. The tray slipped from my hands, crashing against the hardwood floor. Silence. Then her voice again, panicked this time. "Let me call you back." I didn't move. Couldn't move. For 6 years, I'd sacrificed everything. My career at Goldman Sachs. My friendships. My dignity. I'd bathed her, fed her, cleaned her, worked 3 jobs to pay for medical bills that apparently never existed. The door opened. Bernice sat in that wheelchair, those same innocent eyes that had fooled me for over 2,000 days. "Cedric, baby, you're home early," she said sweetly. I looked at her legs. The legs she claimed couldn't move after that car accident in 2018. "Stand up," I said quietly. "What?" "Cedric, you know I can't stand up." My voice came out steady, cold. Something in my tone must have told her the game was over. Her face shifted from sweet victim to something I'd never seen before. Pure calculation. "How long have you been standing there?" she asked, dropping the act entirely. "Long enough," I replied, my voice barely above a whisper. Bernice wheeled herself back slightly, and I noticed, really noticed, how her legs tensed, how her feet pressed against the footrests with controlled strength. 6 years of my life, and I'd been blind. "Cedric, let me explain," she started, but I held up my hand. The wedding ring on my finger suddenly felt like a shackle. I walked past her into our bedroom and pulled out my phone, fingers shaking as I scrolled through our bank statements. $73,000 in medical bills. Physical therapy appointments at Riverside Medical Center every Tuesday and Thursday. Dr. Patterson's specialist consultations. Premium wheelchair costs. All of it real money, gone from our accounts. "Those bills," I said, turning to face her. "The ones I worked myself to death paying. Were any of them real?" Bernice's jaw tightened. For a moment, I thought she might maintain the charade, but something in her eyes shifted. She looked almost relieved. "Some were real," she admitted. "The accident happened. I was hurt. But after 3 months, I could walk again. Dr. Patterson told me I'd made a miraculous recovery." The room spun. 3 months. "You've been faking this for 5 years and 9 months. You don't understand what it's like," she snapped, anger replacing her usual sweet tone. "Before the accident, you were never home. Always at that fancy job, making money but never making time for me. Then suddenly, you were mine. All mine. So you trapped me." I felt my hands curl into fists. "You made me believe my wife needed me, made me quit my 6-figure job, made me become your servant because you wanted attention." Bernice wheeled closer, and I instinctively stepped back. "It wasn't just about attention, Cedric. It was about having you. Really having you. When you thought I was helpless, you finally looked at me like I mattered." My phone buzzed. A text from my sister, Lucille. "You good? Haven't heard from you in weeks." I stared at that message, realizing I'd pushed away everyone who tried to warn me. My mother had said Bernice recovered too perfectly. My best friend Claudio had questioned why she never showed improvement. Even my boss, Mr. Richardson, had pulled me aside before I quit, asking if I was certain about leaving. "I turned down a promotion for you," I said softly. "Vice President of Operations. $200,000 a year. I told them my wife needed me more than I needed money. And wasn't I right?" Bernice had the audacity to smile. "Look at how close we became. You wouldn't have done that for a wife who could walk. You're insane." "I'm in love." She reached for my hand, but I jerked away. "Don't you dare," I warned. Don't you dare try to make this about love. Love doesn't deceive. Love doesn't steal years of someone's life. Where are you going? She called as I headed for the door. Away from you, I said, grabbing my car keys from the hook. I drove to the one place that might have answers, Riverside Medical Center. Dr. Patterson's office was on the 3rd floor, and his receptionist, an older woman named Mrs. Wheeler, recognized me immediately. Mr. Williams. We haven't seen you in months. How's Bernice? That's what I need to discuss with the doctor, I said. It's urgent. 20 minutes later, I sat across from Dr. Patterson, watching his face shift from confusion to understanding as I explained what I'd discovered. He pulled up Bernice's file on his computer, his expression growing darker. Mr. Williams, I'm going to be honest with you. Your wife's last appointment with me was in March 2019. She called in April of that year to cancel all future appointments because, and I quote, I've made a full recovery and don't need physical therapy anymore. The room tilted. But I've been receiving bills from this office for the past 5 years. Dr. Patterson's eyebrows shot up. That's impossible. We stopped billing you in 2019. Let me see those statements. I showed him everything on my phone. His face went pale. These are forgeries. Look at the invoice numbers. They don't match our system. The address is slightly wrong too. Someone's been creating fake medical bills. Who would? But I already knew. Only one person had access to our mailbox, had the time to intercept real mail and replace it with fabricated documents. Bernice, Dr. Patterson said quietly. Mr. Williams, I need to ask. Has your wife shown any other concerning behaviors? I called Lucille from the hospital parking lot. My hands shook so badly I could barely hold the phone. Cedric? What's wrong? Her voice came through, immediately concerned. I need you to tell me the truth. About Bernice. About everything you tried to warn me about. Silence stretched between us. Then Lucille sighed deeply. I found out 2 years ago, she admitted. I saw her at Piedmont Park. She was walking, Cedric. Walking and laughing with some woman. When she saw me, she begged me not to tell you. Said she'd explain everything, that it was complicated, that she was in therapy working through trauma about losing her independence. And you believed her. She cried, Cedric. Real tears. Said she'd tell you herself when she was ready. She made me promise to give her time. I thought, God, I was so stupid, I thought maybe she really was traumatized. But then months passed, and she never told you. I tried dropping hints, tried getting you to question things, but you were so devoted. Who was the woman she was with? That's the thing. I did some digging. Called in a favor from my friend who works at the courthouse. Her name is Rochelle Stevens. She and Bernice have been friends since college. And Cedric, there's more. I found texts. My stomach dropped. What kind of texts? Between Bernice and Rochelle. Planning this whole thing. Rochelle works in medical billing at a private facility. She's the one who's been creating the fake invoices. They've been splitting the money you send for medical bills. The evidence Lucille sent me was devastating. Screenshots of conversations between Bernice and Rochelle dated back to 2019. He's so gullible, one text from Bernice read. Sent another $5,000 for the specialized wheelchair cushions. We're having that Miami trip after all. I sat in my car outside a stranger's house, unable to drive, unable to think. My phone showed our joint bank account balance, $3,000. We'd had over $90,000 when I quit Goldman Sachs. I'd worked as a night security guard at Northside Hospital, weekend shifts driving for Uber, and freelance consulting projects that paid a fraction of my old salary. All of it gone. Poured into a lie. Another text from the screenshots. What if he finds out? Rochelle had asked. Bernice's response made my blood run cold. He won't. Cedric is too good. That's his weakness. He believes in helping people, in being noble. Men like him are easy to control. Just make them feel needed. I thought about our wedding day. How beautiful Bernice had looked in her dress at Ebenezer Baptist Church, how she'd promised to love me in sickness and health. Her vows had been perfect, everyone cried. Had any of it been real? My phone rang. Bernice. I let it go to voicemail. Then it rang again. And again. Finally, I answered. Where are you? She demanded. Out. Cedric, come home. We need to talk about this like adults. Adults. I laughed bitterly. Adults don't forge medical documents. Adults don't steal from their spouses. I returned home at midnight. The house was dark except for the bedroom light. I found Bernice exactly where I'd left her that morning, in the wheelchair. Drop the act, I said. We both know you can walk. For a long moment, she didn't move. Then, slowly, deliberately, she stood up. She walked to the dresser, picked up her hairbrush, and set it down. The normalcy of the gesture made everything worse. There, she said. Happy now. Where's the money, Bernice? The $90,000 that's missing from our accounts. Invested, she replied calmly. Rochelle and I started a business. Medical billing consultancy. We're actually doing quite well. The audacity stunned me. You stole from me to start a business. We're married, Cedric. It's our money, not yours. I earned it. And I earned the right to spend it by putting up with your neglect for 3 years before the accident. You think I didn't sacrifice? I gave up my dreams of going to law school because you wanted a wife who'd be home, who'd make you dinner, who'd be the perfect little homemaker while you climbed the corporate ladder. That's not, we decided together, you decided, Bernice cut me off. Just like you decided everything. Where we'd live. What church we'd join. When we'd try for kids. I went along with all of it, being the supportive wife. The accident gave me power for once. And honestly, I liked it. I recorded everything on my phone, every word of her confession. You liked having power over me. I asked, keeping my voice steady. You liked watching me destroy myself. Don't be dramatic, Bernice rolled her eyes. You didn't destroy anything. You worked some extra hours. So what? Lots of people work multiple jobs. I worked myself into exhaustion paying for fake medical care while you and your friend stole from me. My voice rose despite my efforts. I developed anxiety, Bernice. Real anxiety. I couldn't sleep wondering how I'd pay the next bill. I skipped meals to save money. I wore the same 3 shirts for years because I couldn't afford new clothes. And you looked so noble doing it, she said mockingly. Saint Cedric, sacrificing for his poor crippled wife. Everyone at church praised you. Your family thought you were amazing. You loved that attention just as much as I loved having you home. Something inside me snapped. I'm calling the police. No, you're not. Her confidence was unshakable. Because if you do, I'll tell them you've been abusing me. Who do you think they'll believe? The disabled wife or the angry husband? I've been documenting everything. Photos of bruises from physical therapy that I'll say came from you. Diary entries about your temper. Text messages to friends about how scared I am. My blood ran cold. You wouldn't. Try me, she smiled. We're in this marriage until I say otherwise. You wanted in sickness and in health? Well, congratulations. You got it. Claudio had recommended his divorce attorney, a sharp woman named Patricia Montgomery who'd handled his own messy separation. She sat across from me in her downtown office, listening to my recorded conversation with Bernice, her expression growing darker. This is fraud, Patricia said finally. Potentially multiple felonies. Wire fraud, forgery, theft by deception. Mr. Williams, your wife has committed serious crimes. But she threatened to accuse me of abuse. Let her try. We have her recorded confession. More importantly, we have something she doesn't know about. Patricia pulled up something on her computer. Georgia is a one-party consent state for recordings, so what you captured is legal. But there's more. Medical fraud triggers automatic investigations. Dr. Patterson is mandated to report suspected fraud. The moment you showed him those fake bills, he filed a report with the State Medical Board and Insurance Fraud Division. Hope sparked in my chest. What does that mean? It means investigators are already building a case. They'll subpoena bank records, trace the money to Rochelle Stevens and her billing company. Your wife's threats are empty. If she accuses you of abuse, she'll be investigated, and they'll find the fraud. She's trapped. So what do I do? First, we file for divorce immediately. Georgia allows for fault-based divorce. Adultery, cruelty, fraud, your wife's actions qualify. Second, we get a protective order based on her threats. Third, we document everything. Every fake bill, every text message, every witness who saw her walking. We build an airtight case. The divorce papers were served to Bernice at her mother's house, where she'd fled after our confrontation. Her mother, Diane, called me within an hour, screaming, "How dare you abandon my daughter in her time of need? Mrs. Patterson, your daughter can walk. She's been faking her disability for nearly 6 years." Silence. Then, "You're lying. I've seen her struggle. I've watched her suffer." "Ask her to stand up next time you see her," I suggested. "Just ask her. And when she makes excuses, ask yourself why she never wants to visit you at your third-floor walk-up apartment. Why she always insists you come to our single-story house." I heard muffled conversation in the background. Then Bernice's voice, sharp and clear, "Give me the phone." "You had no right to involve my mother," she hissed. "You involved her the moment you made her complicit in your lies. How many times did she help you maintain this story? How many people did you manipulate? Cedric, we can fix this. Drop the divorce. I'll pay back the money. We can go to counseling. I don't want counseling. I want my life back." "You self-righteous," her voice changed, venomous now. "You think you're better than me? You're nothing. A mediocre analyst who peaked at 35. I made you matter. I gave you purpose. Without me, you're just another divorced black man with trust issues." "Maybe," I agreed. "But at least I'll be honest." I hung up. That night, I slept in my new studio apartment near Buckhead. It wasn't much, 600 square feet, basic furniture from IKEA, but it was mine. No lies. No manipulation. Just peace. Detective Maria Gonzalez from the Fraud Division called me 3 weeks later. "Mr. Williams, we need to discuss your wife's case. Can you come to the station?" At the precinct, Detective Gonzalez laid out their findings. Rochelle Stevens has been running a sophisticated medical fraud operation for 7 years. Your wife isn't her only victim. Well, victim spouse, I should say. There are 4 other cases with the same pattern. Woman claims disability, friend creates fake medical bills, husband pays them unknowingly, they split the money. My jaw dropped. 4 other men. 3 men, 1 woman. Total theft approximately $370,000. Mrs. Stevens is looking at serious federal charges. Wire fraud across state lines, identity theft, forgery. She's facing 15 to 20 years. And Bernice. Your wife is being charged as an accomplice. Conspiracy to commit fraud, theft by deception. She's looking at 5 to 8 years if convicted. The weight of it settled over me. Part of me felt vindicated. Another part just felt sad. "There's something else," Detective Gonzalez continued. "During our investigation, we found evidence that your wife has been in a relationship with Rochelle Stevens. Romantic relationship. Text messages, hotel reservations, jewelry purchases. This goes back to before your marriage." The world tilted again. Before. They've apparently been together since college. On and off. The working theory is that the disability scam served 2 purposes: keeping you busy and controlled while providing money for them to continue their relationship on the side. I thought about all those times Bernice insisted I work night shifts. All those weekends she said she needed alone time for mental health. The puzzle pieces fell into place, each one more painful than the last. 6 months later, I sat in a Fulton County courtroom watching Bernice's trial. She'd rejected the plea deal, 3 years with possibility of parole, and decided to fight. Bad decision. The prosecution presented bank records showing systematic theft. Text messages between Bernice and Rochelle planning the fraud. Testimony from Dr. Patterson about her recovery and subsequent deception. Testimony from private investigator photos showing her walking, shopping, even dancing at a club in Atlantic Station. The defense tried arguing that Bernice had psychological trauma, that she'd convinced herself she couldn't walk, that she needed help, not prison. But then the prosecution played my recording. Bernice's voice, clear and mocking. Men like him are easy to control. Just make them feel needed. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Bernice turned to look at me as the verdict was read. For the first time in years, I saw genuine emotion in her face. Fear. The judge set sentencing for 2 weeks later. Outside the courthouse, reporters clustered around. This case had made local news, the faking disability fraud ring scandal. I pushed through them to where Claudio and Lucille waited. "It's over," Lucille said, hugging me tight. "Not quite," I replied. "Sentencing still. But yeah. Almost over." That night, I sat on my apartment balcony overlooking the Atlanta skyline. My phone rang. Unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. "Cedric." Bernice's voice was small, broken. "Please don't do this. Tell them you forgive me. Write a letter to the judge. Please." "Why would I do that?" I asked, keeping my voice neutral. "Because we were married. Because you loved me once. Because everyone deserves a second chance." I thought about that. About mercy and forgiveness and second chances. About the man I'd been 6 years ago, optimistic and trusting. About the man I was now, harder but wiser. "You're right," I said finally. "Everyone does deserve a second chance. But you already got yours. 5 years and 9 months of chances. Every single day you could have told me the truth. Every morning you could have stood up and said, 'I'm sorry.' You chose not to. Those were your second chances. Bernice. You spent them all. Cedric, please. I'm writing a letter to the judge. But not the one you want. I'm detailing every sacrifice I made. Every therapy session I needed after this. Every friendship I lost because I was too exhausted to maintain them. Every dream I deferred. That's my victim impact statement." "I hope you're happy," she spat, anger returning. "I hope you enjoy your revenge." "This isn't revenge. This is accountability. There's a difference." I hung up before she could respond. 2 weeks later, Bernice was sentenced to 6 years in prison. Rochelle got 12. I walked out of that courthouse and called my old boss at Goldman Sachs. "Mr. Richardson? It's Cedric Williams. I know it's been 6 years, but I wanted to see if there might be any positions available." He laughed. "Cedric, I was hoping you'd call. Actually, we just lost our VP of Strategic Initiatives. Interested?" 3 months later, I started my new position. New office, new team, new life. I joined a gym, reconnected with friends, started therapy to process everything. And slowly, I remembered who Cedric Williams was before he became someone's slave. Before I became a victim. I was just me again. Finally free. If you believe everyone deserves honesty and respect in relationships, hit that subscribe button. Only manipulators and con artists won't. Drop a comment saying everyone deserves the truth if you stand against people like Bernice. Show me you're not siding with frauds and liars. Let me know you're here for real stories about real justice.